Canada's Environment Minister Peter Kent went to Washington today to announce Canada is committing $10 million to a global initiative aimed at reducing short-lived pollutants, things like soot and methane. Why in Washington? Well, as Eric Sorensen reports, it could have something to do with trying to convince the Americans of our green credentials.
The U.S. Capitol is virtually shouting distance from the Canadian Embassy, so there was symbolism in Canada's Environment Minister coming here to announce something he wants Americans to hear: new funding to combat greenhouse gases ahead of a major climate forum this week.
Canada is demonstrating its commitment, our commitment, to meaningful action.
But Canada's environmental image in the U.S. is defined in part by the proposed Keystone XL pipeline to transport what critics here consider to be dirty Alberta oil. Burnishing Canada's environmental record, it's hoped, will help sell Keystone.
The challenge that we have in the United States is better informing the American public.
Back in Canada, the opposition is skeptical.
We know that he's only doing this in reaction to the pressure that Canada is receiving from the U.S. about pipelines and greenhouse gas emissions.
Like a game where the outcome is in doubt, Canadian officials have been mounting a full-court press in Washington before the final buzzer goes on Keystone. For 2 days, Alberta's premier has hopscotched between meetings in Washington to try to reassure U.S. lawmakers Alberta's not just about oil, but a sustainable environment.
We want to make sure that as this decision gets closer, that everyone who's involved in being part of the dialogue has the correct information about what our record has been in Alberta.
For Canada's ambassador, it's almost non-stop lobbying. Redford herself has been to Washington 4 times in the last 18 months. Recently, Foreign Affairs Minister John Baird met with his counterpart and talked Keystone. And Saskatchewan's Brad Wall was prowling the halls of Congress, shoring up support from influential Americans.
It's a benefit to both countries. We need the oil. You need a customer.
Pipeline! Hell no!
The lobbying has been intense because the opposition is intense.
Oil spills. It's not if, it's when.
This is just the latest ad by opponents of the Keystone XL.
Keystone XL. All risk, no reward.
President Obama has the final say on Keystone. Is Canada's message reaching him?
We're pretty confident that the dialogue is happening in the right places.
We'll know if all that lobbying's paid off when the decision comes down later this year. Eric Sorensen, Global News, Washington.